Hey friends and family, my name is Skylent, and here I talk about games and stuff and things. This is generally for a more mature audience, so please forgive me if you want to go check out some cute IO games and more lighthearted fun. That's moving over to a channel called Free For All. Please subscribe, comment, and the description section should have links to that. But here I'm going to be talking to you like you're adults, because generally you are. You're actually older than me, and we all played games probably all the way growing up, and we just want to rant it and ramble together. So keyboard warriors, join me in the comments below. But if you want to pick a topic for a new rant or pick a game for review, please join my Patreon. I do want to go in a more mature direction with this channel, and the only way I can do that is with your help. Alright guys, so today we're talking about Genshin Impact just a little bit. We're not talking about the general drama of how it's basically a clone of Breath of the Wild. We're really going to be talking about my personal stance on the term clone, that terminology of cloning, clones, spiritual successors sometimes. Sometimes you can kind of call something one thing or another, but really, the way I'm going to define this is if a game is directly spawned and inspired from another modern game. If a game is old and there is no sequel or successor, and then another company's like, well, we really liked what that game did, and we want to modernify it. We want to, modernify it, is that a word? We want to bring it into the modern light, into the modern spotlight. We want to change some things around, do it bigger and better. Then we can call it a spiritual successor. But today we're talking about a game that's like, it's a modern game, maybe just a few years or much, much quicker. Just after a game released, it came with critical success, critical acclaim, and they want to copy the aesthetic, the overall direction of the game, the advertising even to an extent, and of course the majority of its mechanics, gameplay loop, game flow, all that good stuff. Most of the game is very, very similar to another. That's what we're talking about today, and obviously, hopefully it's obvious, I don't think we should fight too much about that. Not much debate here, but Genshin Impact is already self-proclaimed to be inspired by Breath of the Wild, and to the extent it's inspired, I think we can all say it's very much leaning into clone territory. Obviously, there's some changes here and there, but let's go ahead and just talk about that terminology and why there might be some debate. I don't think it's really a case of ignorance, it's really kind of subjective of what you find important in a game and how you even play a game. But let's just say that this game is much more story focused, with character focus and much more RPG, or it might even technically be an RPG, where Breath of the Wild, you would have to really fight if it's an RPG. And also, Breath of the Wild is much more sandbox, and its gameplay loop is one certain direction. So is this really a clone if it switches genres entirely? That's the RPG crowd is definitely really hardcore, so I don't know. Anyways, it's obviously inspired by Breath of the Wild with its aesthetic, its art style, with a lot of its gameplay elements from certain fights, most fights, open world monsters, the music cues, very distinct Zelda Breath of the Wild, kind of jazzy in some ways, and this game is kind of completely replicating it. There's just a lot of things in terms of design and of course gameplay to an extent that just seem completely, I would say, ripped off from this game. So, okay, Genshin Impact gameplay in the background, it's mostly inspired by Breath of the Wild. Now, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? How do you feel about it? Immediately, sure, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments below, but I'm gonna give you my thoughts real quick. This video is less about Genshin Impact and it's more of an example, but I'll just say that when I personally hear about a game being a clone or changing direction to more emulate another game, the first thing I think is it's really more negative emotions. I'm really saddened. I'm somebody who favors originality over everything because I really love the unique game design, and I really love unique game experiences. Like, I'm a player and I can play all games ever, so I have the opportunity. I am blessed. And I really push myself in order to consume all the media that I can. Now, if somebody can only play mobile games, or somebody only has time for 1 or 2 games, then maybe a game being a clone or not doesn't matter. But to me, I don't really want to play the same thing over and over and over and over again forever. And if I see a game as a clone, even though I was interested at first, and then I start noticing that there's some patterns, I don't really want to get into the habit of doing habitual things. I don't really want to just fall into patterns. I want a game. I want to really play. I want to test myself. I want to test the games. I want to do new things. And so for me personally, when a game comes out and basically, it's a clone, recent examples would be something like Paladins, where originally totally different game, and then it transferred more and more to be very, very similar to Overwatch. I just played it less and less and less. But at the same time, now let's talk about this. Genshin Impact is coming out, and same thing with Paladins in a way, and as an example, is Paladins will reach certain consoles as a free-to-play game. So all consoles, but I'm just saying, like, as a PS4 only player, and maybe you don't have as much money, maybe you're a child. Well, Paladins is the perfect game. You can't afford Overwatch, or maybe you can't afford a gaming PC to play Overwatch, in its prime. But Paladins feels really good, and it is really fun on that. And Genshin Impact is also going to be a cheaper game, generally. I don't even know if it's free to play, but I know it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be a cheaper game, and it's going to be on mobile devices as well. So even though the Switch is like a mobile device, that's a whole nother console. That's a whole lot of cost to play Breath of the Wild. And Genshin Impact is going to be cheaper, maybe debatably free, possibly. A lot of clone games are free, and it's going to be on a totally different platform. So even though at first for me personally, I was a little saddened, I don't think a game being a clone is actually detrimental to even me, who's very harsh about those kind of things. Well, it's kind of okay, because being able to play on my phone is it is a totally different experience, actually. Like for an example, if you ever played like Overwatch on PS4 is not the same as Overwatch on PC, which is detrimental to the game, I think. Overall, it's game design, but at the same time, obviously, you don't want games to completely cater to one audience or another, unless they're going for full ham. So Overwatch being a super competitive FPS, it really does belong focused on PC. That's just how it is. Paladin's much more casual. You can go play that on PS4. In this game, since it's probably going to have more RPG aspects, more character focus, more story driven, it makes a lot more sense to be more casually played on mobile devices. Even though Breath of the Wild isn't the most hardcore game, you still probably need not touch controls. You probably should play that game with a Switch. It feels really good actually in portable mode whenever you can aim with the motion controls. I like that. It's pretty neat. So anyways, I do appreciate Breath of the Wild for what it is. And I think if you were to copy and paste that game on mobile devices, just using, mobile controls, while it might be a detriment, is a unique experience. But now, if you were to slightly change the mechanics of that game so that it really more is in line with being more comfortable on mobile devices, well then, really, that's something kind of special. A lot of people don't realize this. I do, because I love experimenting, but depending on the controller that you play with, so not just the console, of it being worse or better, but just the idea of it being different, being more unique. The physical feeling of playing a game is something special that a lot of people overlook. Like playing a video game, it's not just a mental thing. It is a physical experience. So, playing Rock Band, as an example, you can play Rock Band, the singing, the drums, the guitar, and you're still playing Rock Band, but it's basically three totally different games. You're doing three totally physical different things playing the same game. So different controllers totally change, playing with mouse or playing with controller. It's not just one is more accurate, one is, not. But there's actually a more tactical feel, especially if you have the rumble with the controller. Really good for racing games and just really fun for immersive, casual experiences, actually, sometimes. So, different controllers, totally different feelings, different platforms, especially considering if going to mobile is a big impact. The Switch was such a revolution because you can play it in multiple different places. And of course, if you can just have something on your phone, changes the game, A lot of people really, really love the fact that a clone game, could, even if it really is just a total one-to-one clone, it kind of doesn't matter because it's on mobile devices, so it feels and plays totally differently. It's accessible, it's cheaper, if not completely free, and it allows people to have a more social experience, literally being able to go out into the world, play whenever they want, and maybe even interact with strangers in the world, such as like Pokemon Go, but to a lesser extent. If someone sees me playing auto chess or one of the auto chess clones on mobile, they're like, oh yeah, I play that game too, and you can have a little conversation. That's neat. But also just being able to always be on or always be able to play, gives you more opportunity to kind of engross yourself in those online communities, even if it is a single player game. There's so many times where I'm playing Breath of the Wild on my Switch at work, people are like, yo, that game is awesome, and then we have a little chit chat. So I think that something being portable and always being able to play it, that's a boon. And then obviously, you know, all the other things that I said with the actual physical experience. Of course, though, a clone is a clone, and it kind of sucks that they couldn't be more original, more unique. You know, that's, yeah, like it basically is a detriment to the game, but I'd rather the game actually exist. Like if there is no mobile clone of a game, such as like World of Warcraft, there's no mobile port of it, there's no, you know, proper mobile game that really lives the life. It's kind of cool to see some companies attempt to look like World of Warcraft, or they copy and paste some mechanics, but I think if a game could full force actually do full World of Warcraft, then again, that's a beast of a game. So it makes sense that there's not completely a clone, though I know there were some attempts, and they actually did really well. But, you know, so Order and Chaos, I think, is one of them, though the second one was like, whatever. So clones can be cool. I think clones can be cool, but overwhelmingly, I think that not a clone is better. I mean, that shouldn't really come to a surprise. But at the same time, we get what we get. We can't always have our absolute perfect dream game. And sometimes we do want to play clones. Sometimes we do want to play basically waifu RPG Breath of the Wild. Sometimes that is exactly what we are hungry for. And, you know, we could, as critics, debate it and fault it, but that's really just an on-paper thing. And, you know, how we experience games is all biased, and it's all based on the individual, how you want to play, what you want to consume. I'm just kind of trying to give you my thoughts and feelings. As somebody who wants to be really, really harsh on the idea of clones, the thing is they serve a purpose, and they're very, very popular for a reason. And even though we can look down a bullet point list of mechanics and call that game out for being unoriginal, or maybe not delivering as well as another game, really the full package and how it's experienced is definitely more than that bullet point sheet list of mechanics. It's a player playing a game, physically interacting with this medium. It's something special. That's why we love video games, and it's kind of untouchable. The emotions and the feelings that we have when we're touching a game. So, Breath of the Wild, awesome game, obviously. Makes sense a lot of other games would be inspired and clone it. Sure, I see some VR games upcoming that are like that, which is also a totally different experience. If VR Breath of the Wild is a different game. That's a different game. Just flat out, it's a different game. So this game, Genshin Impact, I'm excited for it. And also, you might have noticed that I actually played a lot of Paladins as a clone game. In fact, I cover a lot of clone games on this channel, such as the Call of Duty clone Iron Sight that I did, which is a free-to-play and on PC, you know? So it's a proper PC game. You know, the Dauntless is very much inspired and very cloney of Monster Hunter, but it was free to play and on PC first. So I play these games. I understand these games. I'm there with you, the ones who are positive about cloning, but I also am there with you when I lament about it and I review it. So in my videos, when I say a game is a clone, it's really not just a net negative. It's just me saying, hey, this is a fact. This game is heavily inspired by this other very recent game. So, you know, think of that what you will, compare and contrast it, and make the decision yourself. I'm just here as an influencer to kind of help you decide, to help you find new games and new experiences, new feelings to feel that you haven't before, hopefully. And, you know, sometimes you are hungry for some fast food, and that's kind of what a clone is. Sometimes you need that sustenance. You just need a quick fix. Or sometimes you kind of missed out on the original, the OG, and that's totally fine. And you know what? There are cases of clones being objectively better than their originals. So I'm just saying it's not all doom and gloom, guys. That's right. I'm gonna give my thumbs up to clone games. Feel like part of my soul left my body, but you know, sometimes you have to realize that being a critic or a game developer, you put those aside and realize that players, well, they're their own beast, and the way they play games is all unique to every individual. So for you, if you think you're gonna really have fun with this game, don't feel bad that this game, you know, is similar to another or whatever game, this game or any other game. You do what you want to do, and then hey, what you can do is if it doesn't work out, or if it does, come back to us, leave in the comments or make a video yourself and tell us if it's good or bad and if people should try it. So that's what I'm going to be doing coming in the future. Clone or not, super original indie game or not. I'm going to try a couple of different genres, but I am going to focus on online games and RPGs. Hopefully you guys appreciate and understand that. So I'm going to go in a more mature and serious direction. Hopefully you guys are adults and can appreciate that. I would appreciate you. So thanks so much, guys, for those who have supported me on Patreon and also watched the streams over at twitch.tv/Skylent. It's been a lot of fun covering these games, and I can't wait to go dive deeper into them as well as these niche little topics that I don't think a lot of people really rant about. If you enjoy these podcasts, let me know with a like and subscribe and click the bell for a tell whenever I go live with a new video. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I hope you had fun. All I can ask is to keep the hype alive. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.